Yeah, good day, class. How are you doing today? Hope you had a very wonderful night. Today is Tuesday, and we are having mathematics. And today we are going to consider one very important topic in maths, and that is lines and angles, right? Now I'm going to be explaining this in details, so please pay attention to every detail or to every explanation I'm going to be making, right? Because it is as important as anything. Now let me start. When two lines intersect, they form two pairs of opposite angle. That's the first thing I want to talk about. Now the question is, what do we mean by two lines intersecting? And what do we mean by them forming opposite angles, right? Now, this is the first line A. This is another line B. Now let's name this line B and this line A. When they intersect, they cross each other. And this is the point of intersection. Now let's assume the angle here is angle A. And let's also assume the angle here is angle B. This angle here is angle C. And this angle here is angle D. You can now see that this angle C is opposite to D, while A and B are opposite angles. So we have two opposite angles here that are formed, AB, and this is a pair. Then we also have C and D, which is another pair. So you can now see that when two lines intersect, they form two pairs of opposite angles, which are A and B and what? C and D. Is that clear? Now, the next thing we want to consider is the useful terms in lines and angles. The first thing I want to consider is parallel lines. Now, the question is, what are parallel lines? Parallel lines are lines that can never meet, no matter how long they are drawn. Looking at the definition given here, we say they are lines that are at equal distance from each other and never intersect. Now, let's assume we have these two lines, A and B. These two lines are parallel lines because no matter how long you draw each of these lines, they can never meet. And you can see the distance between them. It is constant throughout. Is that clear? Now, the next is transversal. Transversal is a line that intersects two or more other lines. Now, let's assume we have two parallel lines. If I decide to draw another line here to cut these two parallel lines at these points and this point, this line that crosses these two parallel lines is what is called a transversal. Let me denote it with the letter T. So that is a transversal denoted with that letter T. Now the next one is adjacent angles. I say these are angles that share a common side and that have a common vertex. Remember, we talked about vertex when we dealt with solid shapes, right? And we say a vertex is a point where two or more lines meet. Now let's assume we have these two parallel lines and this transversal cuts these two parallel lines. Let's also assume that this angle is angle A and this other angle is angle B. Looking at this, you realize that this angle A and B are on the same common side, or they have the same common side. That is, they lie side by side on each other. And for that reason, this angle A and B are called adjacent angles. Is that clear? So adjacent angles are angles that lie side by side on each other. And I want you to understand that another word for adjacent angles is angles on a straight line. Because these two angles are lined on the same straight line, so they are called angles on a straight line. And the sum of angles on a straight line, which is still the same thing as the sum of adjacent angle, it's 180 degrees. Is that understood? So I would like you to keep that in mind, that the sum of adjacent angles is 180 degrees. Is that clear? Now let's go to the next slide. Let's see. Now looking at this slide now, we realize that it's also telling us the same thing, right? About this, and you can see this line drawn. It's called a transversal, right? That is a transversal. Now look at this angle A, and this is angle B. You can see these two lines are lying on the same straight line and side by side, and for that reason they are called adjacent angles. This is a transversal. Now these two lines, line A and line B, these two lines are called parallel lines. You can see no matter how long you draw them, they will never meet. Is that clear now? So that is one thing I wanted to understand about this page. We have parallel lines and we have transversal, right? Now the next thing we want to consider is the complementary angle. The question is that what are complementary angles? These are angles that add up to 90 degrees. Now looking at this, we have two lines, lines AB and line BC. Also, there's also line BD, but we are not considering that now. Now, considering these two lines AB and BC, realize that there is an angle between them, which is represented by this. This angle, it's in 90 degrees. Remember, it is called the right angle, right? Because these two lines are perpendicular to each other. Now, when we have perpendicular, we have something like this. And the angle between them here is 90 degrees. This is synonymous to this. And that is why you can now see that AB makes an angle 90 degrees with what? BC. So what we are indirectly saying is that we have two angles here, angle ABD, which is this angle, and also angle DBC, which is this angle. If you look at these two angles, you realize that they sum up to 90 degrees. So we can say confidently that ABD plus DBC is equal to 90 degrees. So that was how we arrive at this expression, or equation rather, because of the equality sign. Is that understood? Now the next we want to consider is the supplementary angle, right? By definition, a supplementary angle is an angle that add up to, they are angles rather that add up to 180 degrees. Is that clear? When we have two or more angles that add up to 180 degrees, they are supplementary, right? Now, looking at this example, you realize that we have 125 here and 55 here. If you add 125 to 55, you have 180 degrees. And for that reason, these two angles are supplementary. Is that clear? They are also called angles on a straight line. And I want you to understand, just as I said earlier on, that the angle on a straight line, or the sum of the supplementary angles, it's 180 degrees. At this junction, I think we can now go and solve problems on supplementary and perhaps some other aspects we've talked about. This is an aspect that is very important, and that's why I need your full attention here, so that at the end of the day, you get every bit of what we are saying. it's a bit broad too. So please, I want you to listen and watch this video as much as you can so that you can get every detail of it. Now we are asked to look for the value of angle X. Now this is angle X. This angle is 29 degrees. Considering the fact that these angles lie on the same straight line, then the sum of the angles is 180 degrees, or we can say the angles are what? Supplementary angles. So we can have X plus 29. Remember, I told you once upon a time that anytime you see this sign, it means it's 90 degrees. That is what? A right angle. So plus 90 degrees. And we are made to understand that the sum of supplementary angles is what? 180 degrees. Is that clear? So X plus 90 plus 29 will give you 119. Remember to include your degrees. Everything equals to 180 degrees, right? So the value of our X, remember I told you that when plus crosses the equality sign, it becomes minus, right? And since plus 119, remember the addition sign belongs to 190 degrees. So if it crosses the equality sign, it's going to be 180 minus 190 degrees, right? So X will be equals to, at the end of the day, you have the value of your X to be 61 degrees. You can see how easy it is. You can check if you like, just substitute the value of X here as 61, add everything, you discover that you arrive at 180 degrees. I believe this is clear enough, right? If that is clear, then let's go to the second example, which is example 2, right? That's good. Now let's take a look at the second example, which is example 2. All these values lie on the same straight line. Therefore, we also have supplementary angles. Definitely at the end of the day, we have 2y plus 48 plus 52. Everything should be equals to 180 degrees, right? Because we have angles on a straight line. So we have 2y. 48 plus 52 is 100, equals to 180 degrees. Is that clear? Now we are going to collect like terms. So 2y will be equals to 180. Now if plus 100 crosses the equality sign, it's going to be minus 100. So that 2y will give you, what is 180 minus 100? You know it's 80. Then we need to divide both sides by 2 to get y. 2y over 2 will be equals to 80 over 2, right? So when these two cancel these two, y will now give you 80 over 2, which is 40 degrees. So the value of y here is 40 degrees. Then the next thing is we need to go over to the next example. I believe this is clear, right? Remember, every question we are solving or we've solved so far and the one we're still solving, it's on supplementary angles, right? Now, let me give an illustration on complementary. Let's assume we have something like this, right? And this is x. This is 30 degrees, and you're asked to look for x. Yeah, x plus 30 should be equals to 90 degrees, right? Why is it 90 degrees? Because these angles add up to 90 degrees, or because they are complementary angles, right? So that x will now be equals to 90 minus 30 degrees, right? So our x value here will be equals to 60 degrees. So whenever you are given a question on complementary angles, this is how you're going to solve the question, right? How do you know it's complementary angle? You have two lines that are perpendicular. Hope that is clear enough, right? Good. Now we'll go to the next question, which is question 3. Now we are asked to look for the value of size x here. Is that clear? The same thing applies to this. They all lie on the same straight line, and for that reason, they are called supplementary angles. So we have x plus 3x plus 2x. Everything should be equals to 180 degrees. Remember, it's still the same supplementary angle, right? Now, x plus 3x will give you 4x. We did this under algebraic expression. I guess you remember, right? 4x plus 2x will give you 6x, will give you 180 degrees, right? Remember, we are looking for x, so we divide both sides by 6 so that x will be equals to 180 degrees over 6. And that will be equals to 30 degrees. So the value of x is 30 degrees. Any question here? In the absence of any, we'll go to the fourth example, which I believe is the same pattern, right? Now, this is example 4. Now we have this. It's still the same supplementary angles, right? Because they're all lying on the same straight line. So we have 70 plus 80 plus m plus 10. Are you there? Everything will be equals to 180 degrees. Remember, angle on the same straight line. Now, 70 plus 80 gives you 150, plus 10 gives you 160, plus m equals to what? 180 degrees. So we collect like terms here. So m is remaining here. Will now give you 180. When plus 160 crosses the other side, it becomes minus 160. So that our m will now be equal to 20 degrees. Is that clear? So the value of m is 20 degrees here. Are we there now? Good. Now, let's go to the next question so that we can have a holistic knowledge about this subject matter, that is supplementary angles. Now, looking at these two, angle on a straight line is 180. So we have 2p minus 55 plus 3p plus 70, everything will be equals to 180 degrees. Right? Now let's collect like terms now. 2p. Remember, I told you that the sign on any variable or constant belongs to that variable or constant. Now, since the sign on 3p is plus, it's now going to give you plus 3p, then minus 55, right? Plus 70, everything will be equals to 180 degrees. I hope we are all there. Now, 2p plus 3p gives you 5p. Now, minus 55 plus 70 is still the same thing as plus 70 minus 55. And that gives you plus 15 equals to 180 degrees. Now, let's collect like terms. 5p is on the left-hand side. Will now be equals to 180 plus 15 crosses to the other side becomes what? It goes here, right? So it's now going to become minus 15. Is that clear? Is it clear now? So 5p, 180 minus 15 will give you 165. So divide both sides by 5 to get p, right? 5p over 5 will give you what? 165 divided by 5. So p will now be equals to 33 degrees. Now, we might decide to extend the question by asking you to find the size of the angle RKJ. Look at RKJ here. RKJ. So if you are looking for angle RKJ, we are looking at this angle here, right? Because if you draw R to K and K to J, you have this angle. So angle RKJ will now be equals to 2p minus 55. Are you there? And I'll give you 2 multiplied by p is already 33, then minus 55. 33 times 2 gives you 66 minus 55. If you do your arithmetic very well, you have 11 degrees. So you can play around different angles. If you're asked to look for RKU, you know it's 3p, and that's 3 times 33, which is 99, right? Now, we'll talk about the types of angles very soon, which I believe we did, although sometimes ago, but I'll still reiterate that. Now, angles less than 90 is acute. Those that are greater than 90 but less than 180 is obtuse. Those that are greater than 180 but less than 360 is reflex angle. Why angles that are equal to 90 degrees, they are complementary angles, those that add up to 90 degrees. But angles that are equal to 90 degrees, or any angle that is equal to 90 degrees, is called the right angle. Why any angle or any angle that is equal to 180 is called a straight angle. We'll talk about that later on. So you can be asked to get the size of the different angles, please. That is how you are going to solve questions involving that. Hope that is clear. Good. Now, I'm going to give you a do-it-yourself now. And please, I will advise that you answer these 2 questions and you submit via the Google Classroom. I'll get the question by the end of today so that I can mark and return your scripts to you. Is that understood? I believe by now everybody knows how to navigate through the classroom. Is that clear? So you get these things done, get my question answered, type it on Word, and send it to me through the Google Classroom. You know how to go about that, right? Right. So that will be all for today. So I'd like you to listen and watch this video over and over again until it sticks. And in the next class, aside the fact that we are going to be doing correction, then we go to another subtopic under these lines and angles, and that is we'll talk about the adjacent angles, the opposite angles, the complementary angles. Sorry, we talked about the complementary already. Opposite, then we'll talk about the alternates and the corresponding angles. Well, if we can master this for now, so that when we get to the next class and we start talking about opposite angles, you get everything in opposite angles before we go to the alternate and the corresponding angle. Thank you very much for your time. You have a wonderful day, and please make sure you submit my assignment. Thank you.